All right, I think the biggest news and notes that happened over the weekend is a conversation between Mike Tomlin and a brother of probably the best player in Pittsburgh right now, TJ Watt. So Tomlin, just a little backstory. Tomlin posted a video on YouTube and then he shared it on Twitter of why the Steelers love brothers and siblings, and just talked about, I think there was 3 of them. Part 1 was like the genetics. If JJ Watt comes out of the womb, chances are TJ is going to be pretty close to how great JJ Watt is. 2 was the exposure. And then he talked about, getting to watch or getting to meet TJ Watt as a little kid with a mohawk in the green room watching JJ Watt and how that becomes more of a reality to those kids. And then the third one was just like, it's a brotherhood sport. How much closer can you get than brothers? And you're like, yeah, that's, it's very true, which is cool. I like to, for them to 1, acknowledge it, but for 2, explain it to everybody, because if you ask that in a press conference, he'd be like, no, I don't, we don't really have a fascination with brothers. To take that on by himself was cool. So JJ Watt replied to the video on Twitter and said, incredible coach and incredible human. There's a reason players would run through a brick wall for you. Been a pleasure hearing Derek and TJ share stories about you and your leadership. Hope to come visit sometime if you'll have me. Tomlin, after 8, so there's 86 comments under this JJ Watt thing. I would guess half of them are people saying, please sign in Pittsburgh. And the other half are people tagging Mike Tomlin saying, reply to this man right now. So Tomlin did and said, would love to have you come to the facility. You are welcome anytime. And as we could only guess from here, JJ Watt at some point this season will make his way to Pittsburgh or summer or whatever, and at least hang out with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is the closest we have ever gotten to a JJ Watt, TJ Watt partnership. Derek Watt. Yeah, he's not around. TJ Watt, JJ Watt, JJ Watt putting on the black and gold, with lack of a better phrase there. JJ Watt putting on the black and gold. It's stupid news. Excited in my head. I'm just like, oh, this is definitely a little bit alarm worthy.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, look, like clearly JJ has a ton of respect for Mike Tomlin. I don't think that's going to lessen when JJ comes and gets to spend a little bit of time with Mike. I think JJ is actually retired. I don't think he's going to pull a Tom Brady and come back. But look, like it only makes it more likely, like it's not a. I suppose it's not completely implausible right now, but I think it also just speaks to like how much respect Mike Tomlin has in this league. And that's a cool thing to see. I mean, like when you think about free agents coming here, when you think about players who, when you think about the respect that like players have for him, I feel like it gives you a lot of confidence that Mike Tomlin is able to, not that you like needed any more confidence in him, but the fact that he's able to rally a room, that he has guys who, aren't just playing football for the Pittsburgh Steelers because it's their job, but that they actually care about this guy that's leading them and they respect him, and that, there's some real juice behind what they're doing every day.
Yeah. Tomlin continues to show us, and even, Steelers fans are Steelers fans, love Steelers fans, but at the same time, they are just the nastiest group of human beings with the smallest patience in the world. And a lot of them, they're not fans of Mike Tomlin at this point. Want him gone. The league, there is not a single person in the NFL, not one, not a retired one in Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown or Ben Roethlisberger or whoever, that says Mike Tomlin is not one of the greatest, is not one of the most respected men in human are in the NFL. So I agree. Like, Mike T is Mike T. I was watching Bussin' with the Boys yesterday, and they were going on about the Antonio Brown stuff, about how he doesn't actually own the empire, and he has not paying his employees. His coach quit and then came back, and now I don't know. It's pure chaos, as we could all imagine it was going to be. But even then, we're like, if there's one big takeaway about this, it's shout out Mike Tomlin, because the guy is one of the greatest coaches of all time. And the respect is there. But I think going off of that conversation, you get JJ Watt in the building, and I'm creating a story out of nothing here. I get it, but I'm going to keep the optimism high. You get JJ Watt in the building. What's more enticing? What gets those football juices flowing more than watching your brother out there at practice dominate the field and just thinking, dude, I could be playing on this team right now. Like, the Steelers are going to look damn good this summer. They're not going to look bad. They're not going to be, schlobs out there. They're going to have a Kenny Pickett, who's a stud. You're going to have Najee Harris, who is the most intimidating running back in the NFL outside of Derrick Henry when it just comes to watching this guy in practice. Now you got Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. Everybody knows about George Pickens. Allen Robinson's in town. You got a new offensive line, nasty Broderick Jones out there. And then boom, TJ's just chilling there right in the back saying, hey, what's up? Oh, and Patrick Peterson's in town, friend of JJ Watt's. They could be hanging out. I don't know. And then Mike Tomlin just plays a little magic. I'm sure he cracks a joke like, hey, you coming to Pittsburgh? Ooh, you going to sign here? I bet you. I'm not going to say he does it. I don't think he does. But I bet you he goes home and he has a conversation with his wife about, maybe.
Yeah, he shuts the door at home when he gets back home, and he turns to his wife and she says, "Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it."
There's
the gears are already turning in his head.
Yeah, the second he gets back in that car, which I'm sure is just a ginormous vehicle because he's a ginormous.
It has
man.
to.
Yeah. But it's the second he shuts the door on his ginormous Escalade or something and drives away, he's thinking, damn, maybe I can make this trip to Latrobe every day. Maybe that's a good time. I'm just saying, I would not shut the door on a JJ Watt potential something going on here. I think this is the best opportunity the Steelers have had ever to land this guy, like hands down.